Hello and welcome to Hank's Place. I have a question for you today. How can we know God better? How can we get filled up with the fullness of God that's mentioned in Ephesians 3:19? Simple answer, we can't do it. We can't do it. Our self-effort, even admirable self-effort like Bible study, Bible school, walking where Jesus walked, taking pilgrimages, prayer and fasting, church work, seminary, whatever, will not enable us to know God better. We may know more about Him, but we will not truly know Him. How can anyone truly know Him? Well, there are those to whom God chooses to reveal Himself. Matthew 11:27 and Matthew 16:17 indicate this. And who would He choose to reveal Himself to in these days? Well, thankfully, God, being rich in mercy, will freely reveal Himself to anyone if they just ask. So, yeah, praying is the answer. But what kind of praying? Well, look in James 1:5. But if any of you lacks wisdom, wisdom's a good name for Jesus, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach. It will be given him. Knowing God's plans and intentions, His purposes, His future actions, and getting it directly from the source is indeed getting to know Him. In Colossae, Bible scholars believe that early church was being influenced by mystics, people who had strange philosophies and who claimed they had an inside track in hearing from God. Paul prays for that church. He asks God to give them wisdom, godly wisdom. It's recorded in Colossians 1, verses 9 to 14. It's a great prayer for ourselves and for others, my friend. It's like James's word, but has a bit more detail in it. That we may be filled with the knowledge of His will, Paul prays. Not a wee little bit, but filled with all spiritual wisdom and understanding. Spiritual stuff, it's all God's wisdom and understanding. We can ditch that worldly wisdom once and for all, in order that we will walk worthy of the Lord, pleasing God in all things, bearing fruit in all good works, increasing in the knowledge of God. So, being given God's wisdom causes us to grow up, to mature in Christ. Our walk, our talk, all that we do becomes more and more fruitful and more like Jesus. Paul then requests that they be strengthened according to His glorious might to attain to all steadfastness and patience in this life. You see, growing in wisdom and knowledge of His will, we may want to help God out with the results right now, or get out of an unpleasant situation now. But timing is a part of God's will, and His timing is always perfect. To await His timing, we need some steadfastness and patience. So, my dear friend, today, may our God strengthen you to attain to all steadfastness, all right? You know what? In doing so, you'll come alive.